We finished Foundation's Edge, book 4. However you want to word that. I guess there's 2 prequels, but we're going to say book 4 of the Foundation Trilogy. Jesus Christ. Of the Foundation universe.
It makes sense.
Yes, there's a trilogy, and then there's a book after it. Came out 30 years after, and I was a little worried. I was starting to tell you that I was like, does it get... Man, he must have been so nervous coming back to his most famous... I mean, it's the Foundation series and the Robot series, and I think the Robot series is fun and interesting, but the Foundation series is more like his, crown jewel. His real, I don't know, more depth work. And he had to be nervous coming back to it after 30 freaking years. I don't know what made him do that. I gotta look into why.
I would be nervous getting back to anything after that amount of time.
Yeah. And then I got a little sick, and then we had a lot going on life-wise, and I was like, oh no.
It's been 3 nights of the baby going to sleep at
Yeah.
Today's the earliest she's gone to sleep.
Is she officially 9 months? No.
Huh?
We got
not yet.
a week away from a 9-month-old. And it's been particularly, just life and stuff. But I was fair enough to say I can't put that on Asimov. I can't know. I'm a little bit of a tainted witness here because I'm just stressed on life stuff. But Boyd is, like you said, I think around halfway through the book. I think this was my favorite book in the series. And we keep saying that. Alright, we didn't say that for number 2. But 1, 3, and 4 get increasingly...
It was sad. 2 is kind of...
Yeah.
Nah. The second half of 2 was really worth it. The first half,
yeah,
I get
because
why
he has to
the
shift
first
to
half.
open up to all of this.
Excuse me.
He has to make the Foundation, trajectory, universe, whatever you want to call it, so much. He has to open it up with the psychic stuff. And so, yeah, he set up so much stuff to do that, to make Foundation not just about a bunch of clever guys holding together some plan. But anyways, we liked it a lot. I think, and we're gonna get into a little bit of spoilers, and it's crazy how it affected stuff like Mass Effect so directly. So if you're a Mass Effect fan, Asimov fan, everybody since Asimov admits they've been influenced by Asimov.
I mean,
but the Mass Effect stuff is almost directly.
If you're in the realm of sci-fi,
yeah,
and you think that you haven't been influenced by Asimov, you only think that because
you're really dumb.
You literally have no idea who you're talking about.
But people love Asimov. That's why it's nobody even say that. Everything from the 3 Bodies series books, they get into. I was telling you about the Sophons. They make these little rooms to block them out.
He's the godfather of sci-fi.
Yeah, I know, that's true. With the Triple Crown, I forget the 3, the Hugo, and...
He's the big daddy.
Yeah.
He's the Walt Disney of the fake world.
Of much more important, cooler things.
Yeah.
But you want to start off with the plot, I guess? You always got the better memories and all this stuff. We're following a lady. We got a lady mayor.
I guess I almost I feel like the plot is kind of whatever. Not whatever. It's just, okay. Let me word that better.
Our brain deletes the beginning because the middle to end is so much more impressive.
The middle to end
jump
is
to that?
so important.
Yeah.
All right. The beginning, all you need from the beginning, and mind you, writing wise, there is some slowness to it. There was a couple times where I was like, it is taking 3 years for this to wrap up, but it was important, so it made sense.
Yeah.
But basically, we meet a character named Trevize. He's a council member of the first Foundation, and he gets reported because it's they're in the middle of a Seldon crisis. The crisis is that they want to move the capital of Trantor.
Yeah, just put it back.
I mean Trantor of Terminus.
Terminus to Trantor.
Basically, not necessarily to Trantor. They just want to go closer to the center.
Yeah.
And they were basically we don't have to go to the whole the center. We can go somewhere between here and the center, but we feel like we should be moving. Yeah,
we're on the rim. They're on the edge of the galaxy.
Yeah.
And they're so important. They feel like they can basically victory.
I can find the quote, but basically at that point they do own like in part of the actual.
Oh, yeah,
I think they're
third
called
and
the
2/3.
Federation is like a third and or like 2/3, and then the third that they don't have
they have
with
influence.
them, they like influence. So
It's like
they
the U.S.
Yeah, they basically feel like they're a big powerhouse just out in the middle of nowhere, and they could potentially control the whole galaxy.
Yeah.
If they were just in a more central location.
Yeah.
So that's the crisis. The mayor decides
Should they move?
They should not move.
Yeah.
Harry Seldon appears and basically agrees with her
I'm
verbatim.
dead. Yeah, agrees with the mayor, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's like, here I am again.
I'm dead by now. If you're seeing this, I'm dead. Which I think they make fun of in Futurama. But yeah, so
I mean,
so the
he
mayor
actually does always open up that way. He literally always opens up with, if you're seeing this,
I can't see you.
I'm dead. I can't see you. So, I don't know if you're there or not. You might be, many of you or none of
I'm
you.
sure hope I carried the one.
If you're standing, please be seated. If you feel like smoking, go ahead. I'm not actually here, so I won't be offended. It's literally the same spiel every time.
Yeah. So mayor is vindicated.
Yeah, the mayor's like,
they should
this
have
is
not
great.
moved.
This
It
is
was
great.
too soon.
But in the after Harry Seldon basically confirms with her that that's what's up, Trevise, this new character that gets introduced, he's like this young, hip.
Yeah, he's a playboy.
He's a player boy. He likes
player boy.
He's a player boy.
He's a playboy.
So
he gets lots of lady friends. This was written. Well, this one was written in 1982, but Foundation World, I always think of it in the 50s.
He gets introduced, and the first thing he comes out and says right after the Harry Seldon thing is that the Seldon plan is useless, and there's no point to it.
There is no Seldon plan, I think.
Yeah, he's just kind of he feels that the Seldon plan is
by space.
There's no point to it. It doesn't make any sense that this guy was able to calculate everything out so far. And he also feels that the second foundation exists, and at this point the first foundation is under the belief, for the most part, the people believe that they destroyed the second foundation because they sent those 50 people out into they don't really specify what happened, but they were the martyrs.
They were fucking sent into the sun.
Possibly.
They became one with the sun god.
The first foundation feels that they've wiped out the second foundation, but he's basically going around.
No more psychic manipulation around here.
And saying that the second foundation exists.
Yeah, he's like, y'all are dumb.
And they're being puppeteered, basically.
The
mayor has him arrested for treason, and then it turns out that his supposed best friend, Kampor, right?
Kampor, yeah, you got that. See, she reads the book like a normie. And I listen to it because I'm a spacer from the future.
And I tend to pronounce everything incorrectly.
She has the better memory for the plot, and I have the pronunciations.
Yeah.
Like Gandapar.
Gendabal.
We'll get to later.
So
go ahead.
So the mayor has him arrested for treason, and then she basically brings him into her office because she a girl, and she's
a girl riveting. Go ahead.
You're welcome.
She a girl.
She's like, all right, I don't appreciate you doing this. I'm going to send you into exile, and not necessarily exile. I'm sending you on a mission that makes absolutely no sense. You're gonna go hang out with this, I don't know, recluse.
This weird research man.
Yeah, he's what are they
he's
called?
A nerd.
He works in the university.
Yeah.
But he's obsessed with Earth.
Yeah. Oh, he's a mythologist.
Also, do they pronounce it Earth or do they say Earth?
Yeah, really. No, they pronounce it Earth.
Is it bad? I pictured him with these. Characters described as being older, and I think pretty sure he has white hair. So I just picture him just. Oh, and he's never been in space, so I don't know. I just picture this little cartoon character.
He's 50, or in his 50. I think he's exactly 50. He's in his 50s at least, and he's been studying. It's kind of funny. It's not exactly apt, but it made me think of Joseph Campbell, somebody who just really knows all the myths. just a expert on mythology, and it's mostly about Earth. Nobody knows where humanity came from, but they do. There's like a ton of myths, and a bunch of places claim to be Earth, right? Wasn't that the thing?
Yeah.
But then Gaia's a weird name connected to Earth.
The thing is that he's literally gone around and collected all the fables.
Yeah, without ever going to space. He literally just studies them.
At this point, he
on Trantor.
He's so obsessed with Earth that he's just collected as much information as possible, and the reason that he feels that Earth exists is because he's looked at all the different planets, and because people take with them all the animals, like the cows and the goats, like eventually these animals, like, they do evolve to like better exist in the worlds that we take them.
They adapt, but they're still species.
They're still just cows and goats and chickens. And so what he realizes is that there aren't really that many planets. One, there aren't really planets with indigenous.
Yeah, there's not enough biodiversity too. Like, where's all the random types of? Picture all the stuff we eat and actually use. I mean, what are we gonna get? 20, 30? You're not even gonna get to 100 animals.
Yeah.
And yet he knows, just by studying biology, they know that. Isn't that gotta be weird to study evolution without evolutionary record? Like, it's all gonna be it's farm animals all the way down. It's a cool thought to think about how we would lose our connection to like microbes and dirt and random, ancient things, dinosaurs, all kinds of species. You just don't have a fossil record on a colonized, planet in space. I really like that idea. It was really cool.
I'm glad you like that idea.
I don't know where you were in. You're getting.
I ate a rocket.
Yeah.
But basically, the point is, he's able to, and I have the quotes. I can go in and get the quotes. But he says that Earth, like, all the humans stem from one place because there isn't enough biodiversity in the universe to explain how all the humans are all the same.
Yeah.
And he mentions that, like, Earth has to have been one of the most biodiverse places in the galaxy.
Can I pause that? We take for granted all this shit, like living on Earth, and our guy, I want to say Travis. It's so fucking dumb. Travis.
You may call him Trev.
Yeah, that's true. Trev. He doesn't get. I get that they're making it as the reader, blah 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 blah, but he doesn't get that. Like, the researcher has to make the point that, don't you realize humans would evolve on one planet? Like, a species is specific. Like, it would evolve on one place. Not that Trevor's dumb, but it's just something they never think about. Like, there's just humans all over the galaxy.
I think they just...
To be fair, there's humans all over Earth, and people still debate, like where did we all come from one place? And were there independent, evolutions of primitive Homo types, Homo sapiens, Homo neanderthals, all these different groups. So in his defense, it would just be that in space, these Homo sapien groups, these Homo groups through the stars. But they all speak the same language too. Like, they get into a whole thing on that. They all speak the same language, just have dialects.
They all basically speak. Oh no, she's like waking up.
Oh shit, I didn't even see that.
They all speak like galactic standard, but with like different accents. Let's see if she's going back to sleep.
But it's like the US or UK stuff, or maybe you guys think the accents are crazy, but at least we all totally speak each other.
Let's do it.
We're back. Our ladies' man on the First Foundation Council, Travis, has been paired up with Pellerat, the, timid researcher man, never leaves the university library, reads about great adventures, knows all the myths, but never actually been to space.
Yeah. So he's been put together with Travis, and Travis has basically been told by the mayor, I'm sending you out into space with this guy. You're going to go look for the second foundation, but because they have mind control, you need to pretend and believe that you're looking for something else while looking for the second foundation, so that should they come upon you, they think that you're looking for whatever it is that you're looking for.
Yep.
And this guy happens to be obsessed with Earth. So we're going to send you out to look for this planet that may or may not exist, and you can't come back until you bring something of value. And there is a very cool quote at this point where I can look for it, and it'd be easier for me to find it. But he basically tells her that one day she'll ask him for a favor, and he'll remember this moment. Because
I don't know if you need it. I mean, that is basically almost word for word. Because she's, really throwing her power around to get rid of this guy. She really hates that he's bringing up that second foundation's still out there at a time of her victory.
She's literally, so because of this Harry Seldon thing, where he, like, Harry Seldon appeared and verbatim said what she was saying, she's got this, like, kind of political power right now where everybody's like, ooh, she's like,
riding high.
She's right. We should just do whatever she says. They literally
Debbie Downer over here, Travis, is like,
they do describe it as like a high, and he's like, it's only a matter of time before the councilmen see what you're doing and start asking questions. And she's like, yeah, but you're going to be long gone. She also has this really funny, not like a henchman, but he's like her right-hand man.
Yeah.
He's the head of her security. I think his name's Lionel.
I could try to look real quick. Yeah, I forget the names. I'm so bad with the names. But
he basically gets a recording of Travis saying, it's really funny because he sits him in a room and he's like, all right, you're just going to answer my questions. And Travis is like, you're just going to keep the pieces you want. He's like, I'm just going to ask him questions and I'm going to record it. And every time Travis would kind of get off topic, he would stop the recording.
Yeah, because they want him to...
They needed him to admit
that second foundation doesn't exist. Seldon plan is real. Just have a tape of that. Be like, no, even this guy, he doesn't actually think that. Which
they actually do get this. They get this tape that they need, and Travis is all annoyed, but he knows that that's the only way to get released. Otherwise, he's just gonna have them following him around.
Yeah, which is good.
So, sorry, I have to check.
Check the baby check.
So that's what Therese is doing, and so him and Pellerot are given this super ridiculous ship. They get this super outfitted ship that's unarmed, but
it's the official name, the super ridiculous class.
It actually is called the Farstar.
Yeah, great memory. I forgot the name of it. I just remember
it's luxurious.
Yeah,
is what I remember, and they made sure that it was stocked with everything they needed. And
Gummy
Pellerot's
bears.
excited because he's brought the only thing he cares about with it, which is his whole library on a wafer.
Oh yeah. Which
like a cracker, you're saying?
Yeah.
No.
A data chip, a card. Imagine the future where you could put information on a floppy disk.
Probably the size of a wafer, though.
Yeah, I mean, he's talking about floppy disks.
Yeah.
That's funny.
Or like a SD drive.
Yeah, nowadays. But he has this all of the mythos.
He was so excited. He was like, can you believe I could fit it all on a wafer?
Again, it was written in 82, I think. So, it's pretty funny. Wait till you hear what a terabyte is. But go ahead. This ship, did you want to get into the details on what's so special about the ship? Or were you saving that?
No, we should get into the details. So the ship is unarmed.
They're
going to
that part.
basically be going around and counting on their first Foundation citizenship to protect them.
I'm a Roman citizen, damn it.
Basically. And the ship has this giant supercomputer. And up until this point, you've had to calculate each jump through hyperspace, one jump at a time. This supercomputer can literally predict or calculate multiple jumps out.
Yeah.
It could in theory do one jump, but that's so dangerous and what's the word I'm looking for?
Just risky.
Yeah.
It gets into it's literally the speech that Han Solo
that.
gives. It's all this stuff. It doesn't hide this. It comes from here, but you just can't blindly jump through hyperspace. You crash into the moon. You crash into this. You gotta calculate all this shit. even with your super robot.
Well, now this computer's like the most high-tech thing ever.
Yeah. Well, that's what I mean, normally. Like in the other Foundation books, they make
Yeah.
the point of that.
Every other Foundation book, there's literally
You seen that meme, right?
There's one Foundation book where they make such a big deal of it. I thought they were gonna have a ship.
Yeah, you thought it was foreshadowing?
Yeah, I thought it was foreshadowing, but
Yeah.
it wasn't.
It was just world building.
Yeah.
Go ahead. So his ship has that. It has no weapons, but it has the best, travel around the galaxy tech, hyperspace, super navicomputer.
The super everything. Like, this computer is able to do all kinds of crazy shit.
Mm.
Like, they're able to pull up, like, 3D. So, like, Asimov at the time had no idea that we'd be able to do things like this. But it's able to pull up, like, holographic images, and they basically can, like, pull up the map and, like, manipulate the map and move it around and zoom in and out. And they're even able to, Travis can, like, show the map and show a region in the universe and, like, move time.
Yeah, put it forward. There's really cool, like, astronomy programs that you can go back in time, basically pick a point and what would the sky look like here and there. So that's what they're doing, but on a 3D holographic version of that, more intuitive, like pinching the screen on your phone or something, too, even is what it feels like. And you haven't talked about the connection. That's why I got blue balls.
I'm getting there. Go ahead.
No, go ahead. No, the coolest part of the ship is...
So the coolest part of the ship is that in order to use this super fancy computer, you have to put your hands on the console. And the way it was described is that your hands feel like they're going into this like a liquid or something.
Yeah.
And you mentally connect with the computer.
Mm-hmm. But why would it be through the hands? You would think it'd be through the head, like a Neuralink. Everybody thinks of the head as being the thing you connect with.
But it's because... Do you remember the quote?
Kind of, well, not exact, but basically he's like, because that's how we interface with the world around us. It's all through the hand. We touch things in a weird way. We
are the only creature that truly does everything. Like, we take things apart, we build them.
Except for our old roommate. Shout out to Will. He was touching everything.
I was saying we're the only... No.
I'm saying that's what he would do. He'd walk in the room and touch everything.
But we're the only creature that does that. It's basically what Asimov hints at. That Christ.
Yeah, like Will.
And shout out to Will and his need to touch everything.
But that humans, our brains is how we're processing, like, is the organ that does it, but really it's the hands that are our way with interacting with external things. So this external device is telepathically connecting through the wires, basically, of your hand, of the nerves in your hand.
Basically, put your hands on the on the console, and think, and your mind goes into the computer through your hands. Mm-hmm. It's quite the feeling, I have to admit, to think of like what that would be like.
Yeah, I mean, it's a mouse. Like, it had to be early mice, whatever, mouses. In the are you pulling up all your quotes?
I mean, I can.
Yeah. No, I mean, that is smart. We have 1 million quotes, and our quotes all go together through the same account. But holy moly, guys, play-by-play, she is scrolling here. She's going to lose her finger. It's going to fall off. We just talked about how important the hands were for connecting to the brain. You're going to lose your thumb.
There's just a lot of really good stuff in this.
There is a lot of quotable quotes.
Anyway,
but he gets his super ship, and now he has his mythologist.
So they're off to go look for Earth.
Yeah. That's their cover, again, just to be clear. The mayor is hoping of First Foundation on Terminus.
Well, the mayor is specifically sending him out. She's hoping to use Travis, in her words, as a lightning rod. I like that we almost said it synchronized.
I know, we'll work on it.
So her idea is that he's probably drawn attention to himself by coming out and saying that the Second Foundation exists and that Selden's plan is a farce.
Yeah.
So she's sending his butt into space, and she thinks that the Second Foundation will probably strike at him or wonder what the heck he's doing out there, because technically it would have been easy to either imprison him, kill him, or like mentally probe slash
oh yeah, because they still have the mind
like
probe.
erase his mind. Instead she releases him into the wild,
which
with
nobody
the super
expected.
cool ship. Yeah, nobody expected that. So he's off, and Second Foundation does in fact take an interest in him, and we have two things happen.
No, well, before that, our professor guy has a hissy fit that they're not going to Terminus.
Oh, okay. So, no, not to
I mean,
Trantor.
to Trantor. Sorry,
So the professor,
to the old capital of the Empire.
As they decide where they're gonna go, the professor's like, "I really want to go to Trantor," and Trevize is like, "That's why we shouldn't go to Trantor." And he's
That's
like,
exactly
"I don't
what they want us to
understand,"
do.
Basically, and he's like, "I don't get it." And he's like, "You have to have a place in mind."
And he's like, "You spent your whole damn life on Trantor and learning all these myths. I think we're good."
Terminus.
I mean, Jesus.
Well, actually,
no, yeah.
the
But
professor's always been on Terminus. He's never been to Trantor.
But he knows that they have the greatest library.
Yeah, but Trevise's idea is that, because the professor literally tells him how some planets aren't even documented in the whatever.
Yeah, the galaxy
databases.
map base,
Yeah.
which is insane. They think that they got this shit in the bag, that they can just reconquer the whole galaxy.
There's
don't even have
literally
it all
a whole
mapped out.
inhabited planet's not on there. And they said originally they were dodging even the Empire by not being on these maps so that they wouldn't get taxed. But the Doctor suspects that, because he hasn't ever been able to find any kind of information about Earth, he's had to like piece these things together through fables and myths. So he suspects that someone doesn't want them to know about Earth. So
Yeah, it's
Trevize
just
kind
too
of
convenient.
feels like, why would they go to like, they're just going to go to Trantor, and the Doctor's going to go into the library, and he's going to die in there looking for information in the endless library. So he's like, no. What info do you have? You spent your entire life researching Earth.
Yeah.
Like, what would be your first go-to? So they decide on this planet called Gaia, because Gaia was an ancient, or like a different way of saying Earth back in Earthen times.
Which was cool. That's how you learn the dialect thing. Like, Trev is also confused at that. Like, they spoke literally different languages. Humans couldn't understand each other, probably.
Yeah, they couldn't
beginning.
believe that on one planet there'd be so many languages.
Yeah, he's like, yeah, maybe like 2 or 3 or something. Like 3 or 4.
Yeah. And so, basically they decide on this planet called Gaia that is said to exist in what they call the Seychelles, my bad. Seashells by the seashore.
Yeah.
The Seychelles Union, which is, it happens to be an independent.
Yeah, conveniently it was not under the Foundation's, empire,
They
basically.
call it the Federation, right?
We
the
will.
Foundation Federation?
Maybe? I forget.
Anyway.
Yeah.
They're not part of the group of people that have signed up with the Foundation.
Yeah.
So, but ironically, they're surrounded by the Foundation. So they're just this little like speck, this little hole in the galaxy that is surrounded by all Foundation space.
Yeah.
But they're their own independent people. So they go there, and immediately their ship is flagged down. But before, like when they're about to leave, the mayor grabs Compor, our little rat.
But he's our best friend.
He's our best friend.
How could it? Oh no.
And she's like, I'm sending you to go follow him. And he's like, you can't send me. I got a wife.
Yeah.
And she's
Yeah, he's like, can I bring my wife?
Yeah, he basically was like, all right, if I go, she's coming with me. And she's like, nah.
Like, what, he's dumb?
He's like, you're going to hold her hostage? And she's like, not hostage. I'm going to be keeping her safe.
Yeah, however you want to think of it.
Whatever makes you happy, but she's not going. So she gives him a almost not identical, and it wasn't almost, but it had similar capabilities to the ship that she gave Trevize and Pellerat, except that his was outfitted with a few differences, including a hyper relay. So she did not place a hyper relay, which, if you've been here for any of the other previous books, that's a way to track a ship, and they actually get into how it works. Because the hyper relay basically sends each ship has an individual signal on it, and the hyper relay can send that individual signal wherever, like across the galaxy.
Yeah.
But
It's like its phone number.
For all intents and purposes, it's a tracker.
IP address, really.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's a tracker. So she put a tracker on Compor, but she didn't put a tracker on Travis.
Which Travis was blown away by. He kept checking the ship.
He literally wouldn't jump
sure
into
it had to be hidden
hyperspace because he
somewhere.
thought that somebody was tracking his ass. And he was like, "We're not going to be able to go wherever we want to go if they're tracking us. We're gonna have to go wherever they want us to go." So he was very happy when there was no hyper relay on them. So, what's it called? So Comport doesn't. He's annoyed that he's going to be tracked and Travis isn't. But I don't know. Should I just say the spoiler of?
Him being.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, it was pretty obvious. Like, from the beginning, I kind of already suspected he was Second Foundation. But it turns out the mayor also suspected he was Second Foundation. So, she stuck a tracker on his ass because she didn't think.
Now, he was, what do they call it? Not a full.
No,
he was basically eyes and ears. He was a sentinel is the word I want to use. They don't use
going
that
back
word.
to the previous book with Preem Poliver, which was the first speaker of the Second Foundation at the time, he realized that the First Foundation was getting a little wild.
Yeah.
And we should really have more eyes on what's happening in the galaxy, because First Foundation's over here making mind static
they can
shields
block
and
out
all this
psychic
other
intervention
stuff, and we need to get better control of what's happening out in the universe. So he creates, I don't know if he creates or if he helps establish what becomes observers.
Yeah, that's the word.
So when they recruit people, it's always when they're kids.
Like
but,
Jedi.
Yeah. But not everyone gets recruited. Like, some people get recruited to just be random speaker, like, citizens. Other people get recruited to be actual speakers. And then now some people get recruited to be observers. And it's described as they are seers, not doers. And they have the mental ability to go into your mind and get, like, an idea or a glimpse of what you're thinking, but they can't actually manipulate your mind the way a speaker would be able to actually, like, change or influence your thoughts.
It's like hacking a camera versus hacking like a robot, like making an automaton. They hacked my eyes.
So that's basically the description of Compor. He knows he's an observer, but no one else, including his wife.
Yeah.
Who may or may not be pregnant, because I think he ends up confessing to Travis that she was pregnant, on top of everything. So no one knows he's an observer except for the Second Foundation. So he's actually been in contact with Genibal, who is a young, up-and-coming Gendibal.
Yeah, who is a really cool character.
Whose name I can never say
He wants to be first speaker by the time he's 40, right?
He wants to be first speaker by the time he's 40, and he's honestly well on his way. He's like one of the youngest speakers.
By 31 or something, right? He had 9 years left, I think he says.
Yeah.
Is the quote?
Because I think even Palmer P.
Yeah,
Papa. He was one of the youngest speakers, and I think he was a speaker at like 41 or 42 or something.
Yeah.
So he's got 39 years in musical.
Does it have to say how many people? I think there's 12, right? 12 speakers?
No, he's like he would be the 25th or something.
No, but how many on the council at one time?
Oh, man.
I'm pretty sure it's 12. I think he was playing with, like, all the religious 12s.
Yeah, it might be 12. I don't remember how many there are, but
there's only one first speaker.
Exactly. So he wants to be first speaker.
Gendibal wants to be that. He's young. He's lean. He does his little workouts. He's a very driven young man.
He literally goes for jogs.
Nobody else goes for jogs. I'm sure that won't come up.
So Gendibal. I said it right this time?
Yeah. Yeah.
I had to make sure. He's been in communication with Compor, because Compor has to send memos back to the Second Foundation. And he's been sending Second Foundation memos about Treves and his non-belief of that the Second Foundation's been wiped out and all this stuff. And he's also been just saying that Treves is an interesting person and that they should just keep an eye on him, because he also has this like intellect. Like, it's said that it was a shame that, because the Second Foundation doesn't recruit from Terminus ever.
Yeah.
And Treves would have been such a great specimen to recruit into the Second Foundation, but he happened to be born Terminus born, so he couldn't be. So Compor basically sends his memo, and Gendabal gets it, and he agrees. We got to keep an eye on this guy. So
he's the chosen one.
He's basically planning to approach the Second Foundation, what they call the table, because he also needs to talk to the speakers, because he's under the impression, so he's gone up to the first speaker. One of the biggest things before you can become first speaker is you got to really like impress people with like some epiphany.
Yeah.
And his epiphany is that something is up, something's going on with the Selden plan.
Yeah. It's not working. So you have Treves at the First Foundation not believing, or believing that Second Foundation still exists, going against everybody on First Foundation.
And we have Gendabal literally in Second Foundation being like, something is wrong.
Yeah. There is no Selden plan.
Yeah.
Which is sacrilege.
First speaker's like, what is wrong with you?
Mm-hmm.
We literally sit here and make sure there's Selden plan.
What do you do all day? Yeah.
And he's like,
you work at Coca-Cola factory, like, there is no soda here.
So they have this like cool scene where the first speaker, he's like this old guy and nothing's ever happened in his time, and literally Gendabal describes him as someone who's like, he's not a bad guy, he's just not prepared to deal with the Selden crisis in actuality.
Yeah.
Everything's just been so peaceful and smooth running the entire time he's been there.
Can I do the cringy Instagram and the hard times make and soft times make soft men, some shit like that? Like, that's basically. I literally watched him over making fun of those dudes.
But they do this cool scene where like they watch the galaxy over time, because at this point we're at like 400 and like 50 something, or like 400 and something years into the Selden plan, which to refresh everyone, the Selden plan predicted the fall of the Empire. There was going to be a $30,000 year Dark Ages, and we're trying to shrink it down to 1,000 years. So if we stick to the Selden plan, we can for sure get out of this in 1,000 years.
Stick to the plan, people.
So
obey your psychic overlords.
We do this cool thing where we see the universe over time, and like basically we're on track. What's the big deal? So, what's the deal with disobeying the Selden plan? So Gendabal takes out to look all cool, because they have what's called the Prime Radiant, and it's like this little cube, and it
look
like
at my cube.
Look at my cube.
It is, but he just busted out like a fucking party trick. It's like, all right.
He has a new Prime Radiant 2. That's not the name of it, but it's basically like a portable Prime Radiant, super tiny, because the other one was like big and would come out of your desk. So he takes out his little portable Prime Radiant, and he's like, look at this. And so what he starts showing is there's like the Selden plan. It's a mathematical equation, and it's in like black, and then there are these blue markings that are what they would call deviations, which are like all situations in which different paths could have been followed or something changed, and the plan had to be redirected. And we see that after the conquering of the mule, or like once the mule came about and conquered the universe almost, there's like a ton of deviations all over the place. But then after the mule disappears, we see little to no deviations, and then at some point we see absolutely no deviations at all.
Yeah.
And he's like, you don't find it odd that literally the plan has been being followed to a T?
Yeah, it's perfect after the mule.
Like, before, we had to at least intervene somewhat, or like there was at least a chance. Like right now, it doesn't seem like the plan will ever deviate. Like, there's been absolutely no sign of anything that could ruin the plan.
Mm-hmm.
And first speaker's like, isn't it great? And he's like, no, it's too perfect.
And I was saying, it reminded me of the quote, which I'm just going to say, Abraham Lincoln said it, since everybody on the internet just gives him quotes. I don't know if he actually did, but the best way to predict history is to make it. So somebody, there's no way the plan is going.
This perfect.
Is,
Someone else,
somebody's
other
making
than the Second
plans
Foundation.
happen. Somebody's being proactive.
Yeah. Someone other than Second Foundation is basically making sure that the plan is followed to a T. And they're doing a really good job of it.
Yeah.
And so the speaker's basically like, well, isn't that kind of nice? I mean, we have friends. And he's like, all right, why do we want the plan to play out?
Yeah.
And why do we like being the ones manipulating everyone?
Mm-hmm.
And the whole idea, to refresh everyone one more time, is that they're going to have the universe follow the plan, and then they're going to very quietly slip into the higher positions once the plan is basically like been fulfilled.
Yeah. Once they can bring about the new empire, they will have the leadership of the new empire.
A silent oligarchy.
Yeah, they'll be the secret string pullers, the puppet
And
masters
they will
in
be
this.
they will be the Illuminati.
Yeah, of this new empire.
Of Empire 2.
Mm-hmm.
It actually is called Second Empire, but
yeah.
Empire 2. So he's like, so if someone else is making the plan so perfect.
Yeah, don't you think they want to be Second Empire puppet masters?
Even if we think we are the puppet masters, wouldn't they in fact be the puppet masters? And then we're just doing what the First Foundation's doing for us?
Yeah. Which is what I've jokingly predicted a little. I was like, it's Third Foundation, because we were like, what are the next books going to be about? If the big surprise was, it's Second Foundation, nobody who knew that. That's cool. What a plot twist. I'm like, it'll be Third Foundation. But that is essentially what he's worried about. Like, oh my God, what if there's a secret society above us?
He literally was like, Selden told us about Foundation 1 and 2, but what if he just kept Foundation 3 a secret?
Mm-hmm.
Bum, bum, bum.
It's Freemasons all the way down.
So, what happened was...
Yeah, you had Gendabal.
He was going... Gendabal gets the first speaker to agree with him, and they call like an emergency meeting of the table. I don't know if it was an emergency meeting, but they call a meeting of the table, and he goes for a jog the day that he's going to present his basically thesis to the table.
Here's my PowerPoint.
Yeah.
On how there's a secret or Illuminati.
Basically.
Illuminati plus.
But on the way to do that, he gets jumped. So the people of Trantor...
He gets jumped.
Literally. The people of Trantor, they no longer like to call themselves Trantorians. They are now Hamish. And
it's...
Yes,
they don't even want to say
because Trantor is Haim, or
it's home. Yeah.
It's but home. In their
Hamish.
Dialect, it's Haim. So these Hamish people have always lived alongside the Second Foundationers, and they've always kind of acted like a invisibility cloak, or like they throw everybody else off.
Yeah.
And so this Hamish guy, who's probably never done anything towards the Second Foundation or ever,
but
literally jumps him and a bunch of his friends like grab him
on him, want to beat him up.
He says, strike for strike.
Yeah.
Strike for strike, scholar.
They're just gonna sit there and punch each other, like literally bloody knuckles. Yeah. They're just gonna punch each other in the face.
He is a giant farmer, and
Gendabal
is not.
He's a soft.
And he's being held, like Gendabal's feet are literally being held, and they've left his arms out so that he can punch but not run away.
Yeah.
So, as he's about to literally have the life beat out of him, possibly, and he's trying to like keep himself alive, and he's trying to like, because you're not supposed to touch the minds or alter the minds of the Hamish people.
Yeah, because why doesn't he just psychic control, blast them all, so Mewtwo style? But it's not allowed.
He's super very delicately trying to just throw them off or like read their minds so that he can dodge their punches, but it's taking a lot out of him because it takes a lot of mental work to do all that, and and then out of nowhere this Hamish girl comes running over, and she's like, "What's wrong with you, ruffian?"
Ruffians.
Because that was the guy's name. And he's like,
Oh,
"Oh,
that's true.
Novi, I'm so sorry. You don't have to be mad at me. I was just gonna play with the scholar,
nerdy boy.
as they call him."
Mm-hmm.
She's like, "Oh, are you out of your right mind?" So basically, she sets his ass straight, and saves our scholar. And he's like, "Hey, if you want, you can come, and like I'll be where the speakers all live."
Mm-hmm.
And she was like, "Can I write to you?" And he's like, "Yeah, you can even come visit. Go for
It's
it."
like a university camp. It's almost like a monastery is the vibe I got. Like they have
It's
their
like
own
a
little
university
private
type
things
yeah.
there, but everybody sees you come and go. They literally have like desks.
They literally kind of occupy like the library and the university grounds, I believe.
Yeah.
And literally one of the speakers, because he ends up being late to his meeting because of this altercation, and one of the speakers that doesn't like him, because you find out that the speakers don't necessarily all get along.
Mm-hmm.
Like they're all kind of pitted against each other for this first speaker position.
They're all psychic Illuminati, and they're still petty fucking personalities and
this one
bickering.
lady that I hate, Freddie has absolutely no idea what this reference is, but she reminds me of the lady from Harry Potter that had all the cats all over her walls.
What's her name again? It's something with a Delora Delarmy. Delarmy.
Literally the character from Harry Potter has a similar name.
Really? Yeah. Delarmy.
Okay.
Yeah. Pause to look up the Harry Potter cat lady.
You continue. I'm gonna find the Harry Potter cat lady.
She is, stereotypical kind of character. She's always up his ass. Anytime he's bringing up an idea, she's just pointing out any little flaw, how dumb that is, and like I said, why did no other speakers see that? It's kind of arrogant that he thinks he cracked this code about this other force out there interfering with the plan.
I got it.
What is it?
Dolores Umbridge.
No way, so it is her first name? So it is a reference to her?
I told you.
That's crazy.
I told
it's
you.
Delora.
They literally have
Dolores.
similar everything. Like, she smiles, and it's like a fake ass smile, and she acts very. She has too strong a voice, and basically, the first speaker hates her guts, and he literally doesn't know why she's speaker.
Like backstabbing, like.
She's not a goody two shoes.
Well, no, I mean like the teacher's pet kind of actually are bitchy and bad people.
Literally, if you know the reference to Dolores Umbridge, that's who we're talking about.
Okay, yeah, they'll know.
You're the only person that lived in America.
I'm a stranger from a strange land. What can I say? You haven't even read that book yet. You'll get it later.
What else was it that you had no idea?
Oh, some not backyard, not recess. Some other show like Recess. That guy, baseball.
Oh, The Sandlot.
Yeah.
Because you didn't grow up here.
I grew up in space.
Freddie grew up in some third world country.
Yeah, called Mars.
Yeah.
Go ahead. So Dolores, Delora in this case.
Yeah. She basically is like already turning the entire table against Gendaball. Gendaball's able to like flip everything. He actually gets in trouble because he knows that something must have altered the mind of this guy to come attack him. And so they basically...
Well, also in that fight, when they're walking back, like the whole thing with the woman, he tells her, you can get in contact with me. She wants to be a... I love that he's literally a smooth brain.
She wants to be a speaker, but he really likes her brain.
Yeah, but there's a whole meme with like dumb people. He calls them smooth brains.
Her brain isn't just smooth. He describes her brain as... particularly symmetrical, smooth, and undisrupted, where all the other brains tend to have over complexities. She just is.
Yeah.
And it's very appealing. And he literally at some point like will enter her mind and stroke it like a cat.
Yeah.
It relaxes him.
Yeah, and I guess I won't give too much away, but that's going to be important for how... Think about how he can get in all kinds of minds, and her mind, almost in a weird way, reflects or can act as a amplifier.
Her mind can detect.
Yeah.
Because it's so simple.
It's almost like two types of intellects. Like
yeah,
his
like
brain
because her mind is so smooth and simple. Any disruption in the space around her will be very obvious that something is trying to affect her mind.
Yeah.
So.
Anyways, he got jumped on the way to this meeting, and now he's late to the meeting.
Yeah. So now because he's basically saying that someone basically turned this guy against him, he's going to be actually tried for treason also.
Yeah.
Because
Because he accused somebody else. Somebody else there must have tried to kill him.
He accused like the whole table.
Yeah,
and
he
he
said
was
somebody
saying
at
that
this
like
table.
all of them should have their brainwaves
Mm-hmm.
inspected.
Yeah. But he's also late. He broke a million types of protocol because he was late to the meeting. He spoke up at the meeting first after
He was
being late.
he was a mess.
But they've never been attacked by the Hamish people, by the native farming simple folk.
And even getting into an altercation with the Hamish, I mean, he let them all watch the memory of it, and they were all impressed. But still, the fact that he had said that there's any kind of, what's the word I'm looking for, like disloyalty within the speakers, and especially amongst the table. That's a problem.
Yeah. Accused him of murder.
So he ends up
Attempted
kind
murder.
of like waiting for them, and because it takes a couple days for the trial, and in the time, the girl that he met, Novi, comes to visit him, and she's like, "I wanted to be a speaker or a scholar," and
she comes
I is dumb.
Yeah, I know they have a whole speaky thing where I can't.
She literally, I mean, it is cool because you see her character changing.
Mm-hmm.
She goes from speaking Hamish to later not. But anyway, so he decides that it would be cool to have her stick around with him.
Which all the guards and all the other people that let her into this thing, all the other,
they were so confused.
They all say, I'm sure that's not all he's going to teach you, because there's a whole, he's playing with the theme of like going native.
Oh yeah.
Like that these people would.
You're like, oh, she's looking for you.
Manipulate the local people.
Yeah, it was
and seen as
known,
looked down on them, like as primitive, savage locals.
It was also known that a bunch of them did it.
Yeah. Like other speakers did it.
Yeah.
So like it wasn't odd. It wasn't really illegal or nothing weird. It wasn't super looked down upon. It was just like
it would just be looked down upon if you were to take her like as a wife. Or something.
And openly do it. Just don't be so flagrant with it. But they all kind of would cavort with the locals.
He decides, he's like, all right, you can come hang out with me. So she basically sees him as like a teacher, mentor, master, and he takes her on as like kind of an apprentice, kind of just like a little
while being attracted
assistant
to her in a weird way.
Yeah, he's like both attracted and like trying to deny it. So the trial comes on, and he ends up presenting to all the speakers what he felt. He ends up presenting the Compor thing. He presents that Compor's been coming to him about this other guy, Treves, and they've been watching him. And the mayor has sent Treves out on some mission. And even though they thought he was going to be able to come to Trantor where they could examine his mind, Treves actually ended up going to the Seychelles Union, and they find that absolutely suspect.
Yeah.
He also is able to get Novi, because Novi basically agrees with him that Ruffian was out of his mind, and they know that they can basically look at Ruffian's brain and see if he had been manipulated, because a lot of his actions didn't make sense.
Yeah,
she actually spoke to him
audit
afterward and was like, what happened? And he had said that he wasn't himself.
Yeah, like they're aware that they don't know any of this psychic crap works. They don't even probably know it's a thing.
Yeah, but he knows he was not himself, because he doesn't necessarily worship a lot of the scholar stuff. The speakers and the scholars all have
they're like almost wizards. I forget the term he uses, but that's the vibe. Like they know that there's just these magic wielders. Yeah.
They won't mess with them. They're
little
honestly
dorks, but
pretty
they have powers.
So, he presents all that. He's able to get off, and Okay, that just sounds. I don't know
Yeah.
how I always say something that doesn't need to be said
He
that way.
gets acquitted.
Yeah, and it's decided that someone should go out to meet Compor and Trevize and examine them or figure out what the hell they're up to, intercept them and save the Selden plan.
Mm-hmm.
And it's decided, thanks to Laura,
Mm-hmm.
that it should be Cannibal, because if there's anyone that, because he is able to get them all to agree that something's wrong with Selden plan and there's someone else manipulating all of them, and if the First Foundation were to team up together with this other entity, we might have a problem.
Yeah. Too many unknown variables, so send him out into the field.
Yeah.
Send your wild card who's annoying at home to go figure out this shit if he's so passionate about it.
Basically. So, I mean, she's happy.
Mm-hmm. Get him out of the seat.
Yeah.
And
Now,
maybe he'll die out there too.
as he's going to be sent out, what's the word I'm looking for? As he's going to go out into the world.
Concurrently. Trying to say what they're up to, what Trevize and them are up to?
No, she basically, he feels that she's just trying to send him away because the first speaker decides that he really wants Genibal. What is going on? He really wants Genibal to be first speaker, and he knows that this girl really, really, really wants to. Oh Christ! I was so confused. I got the Juggernaut.
Oh my
thing.
god! Yeah, if you guys are just listening, we play, and this is our little time with baby sleeping, and we get to play and do our book talks. And she has the Juggernaut because she has the randomized loot
I
drop
have the
thing.
crate
drop.
I get that crate drop
And she's
thing.
never had the.
I
the
couldn't
Juggernaut.
figure out. I was like, why is it that I can't see? Because we're
She just
playing this night vision thing.
has her little minigun and is like brr, shooting it very politely. Brr, brr, brr.
I was so confused.
Shit, this guy's running up behind you with a shotgun.
Rude.
So you're gonna narrate one of the greatest sci-fi works while just stomping around, confused and cluelessly as a Juggernaut.
Yes. That's exactly what I'm doing.
Hilarious.
All 5 of them killed me. My bad, everyone. I apologize.
She's back. That was the most hilarious break in all these game talks.
I was so confused. Okay. So, Genibal gets them all to agree that this other force exists, and potentially Trevize could be getting sent out to team up with them, which would be a problem. So, they decide to send Genibal out to intervene. And Delilah.
Yeah.
Delilah.
Yeah.
No. She basically is like, you should take a woman so that you can have some kind of a disguise. It should specifically be a
Yes.
Hamish traitor. I was like, oh, this
Yeah,
is
it's a
so
little-
on the nose. Anyway, he's like, the first speaker was like, I believe he's clever enough to come up with a disguise if he needs one.
Yeah, instead of like, yeah, just putting dump. But why do you say convenient there?
What do you mean? I said convenient?
Or like, suspicious that she wants to put him
Oh,
with the
because I
Hamish
already
lady.
knew what her ultimate plan was, which was for him to take the Hamish girl that he's decided to have as a, sidekick, pet, friend, whatever you want to call her. So she thought it was so clever, and because first she says you should take a woman, and he's like, you want to come with me?
Yeah.
And she's like, not me, are you crazy? You should take that Hamish girl.
Yeah.
And so she's looking really like, ooh, look what I did. And so he turns
outmaneuvered
it
you.
on her and is like, I am going to take the Hamish girl because she has an incredible mind, and it's going to be my defense against other minds, because we don't know what's out there.
Yeah.
Because they did come up with this idea that him and first speaker have called them the anti-mules, where like the mule existed and could control minds and emotions.
He was trying to screw up the plan so
Yeah.
much.
The anti-mules want to keep the plan so perfect so that they can take over. So he knows that they probably can do mind stuff, same as them. So it'd be good to have some type of a defense. So he's taking Novi with him. Come on, girl, you get on the ship.
Yeah.
So they get on his ship. It's not as fancy as everybody else's ship because Second Foundation is like so far behind on all this shit. And he goes out into space. He's going to meet Compor, who happens to have followed. So back to Trevize. Trevize did all these jumps through hyperspace to get to Seychelles Union, and Compor did the same thing. He followed him through hyperspace.
Yeah.
Trevize ends up getting caught by the Seychelles, like, border patrol, or like
basically.
And they're basically like, hey, so we're gonna have you go in, because it turns out there's like two ways to land on a planet. There's the gravitational, like you just drive in and park your car, or you have to do their valet, and it's this
It's true.
it's this spiral. You follow like a radio signal and you just slowly spiral down onto the planet surface, and it takes like hours as opposed to 15 minutes.
Yeah.
So they end up having to do this thing. And ironically, so I don't know, do you remember the border patrol guy that stops them? He turns to the guy that's above him and he's like, was that the ship that you dreamed of? Because
Oh shit, no, I don't remember that.
you don't remember this. So it's a very small hint that of what's happening. So basically the head of the like security, it's not border patrol, it's like border security or planet security.
Yeah, it is. I mean, it's just for a whole planet.
But basically
Air traffic
the
control
head
as
of,
well too.
of that
Port security. There you go.
Yeah. Basically the head of the security group, he's what the guy that talks to Trevize and like inspects the ship and stuff and lets them pass.
Mm-hmm.
He's not a dreamer, but the guy above him is what they would call a dreamer. And ironically, he tells you he's it's shunned upon to believe in non-psychic stuff on Seychelles. And the head of security had dreamt of a ship that looked a lot like the Far Star, which is Trevize and Pellerat's ship.
Mm-hmm.
And he had been told in the dream to allow them to pass. So he allowed them to pass, and then Compor like pulls up shortly after, and they had this like funny little like because they kind of like don't get along. So the guy above him was like, the next time you're gonna question me, like think that I could take away your pension and all this shit. And he was
Doesn't
like,
he make
"Alright,
a joke? Now I remember something where I made the fun of.
I guess you don't want me to tell you about this other ship, right?"
Yeah. Sorry, I stepped on a thingy. But because it literally doesn't he say it's so annoying? Like it came to me in a dream.
Yeah.
Like there's nothing more annoying than when somebody says it came to him in a dream.
Yep.
Yeah.
That's literally the guy.
Because that's a quote, though. Asimov knows his history. There's a meme that's based on an actual. I think it's Herodotus. Yeah, it's Herodotus. For sure, Asimov is referencing that. Herodotus says something came to him in a dream. Like that's his citation, because they'll show like the Giga
That's
Chad
hilarious.
versus like the little beta male, and it's like historians nowadays like, well, I did a survey of the text, and I did a archaeological dig, and I cross-referenced all these different data points, and it's like ancient historian Chad's like, it came to me in a dream. Like that's their citation. So yeah, sorry, that was what Asimov was
I love
making fun of
'cause
there.
That's what I'm missing.
Yeah. You
And
just
yes.
triggered that there. Yeah. So that's what the friend is annoyed at too. Right? That's what the little banters back and forth
Yeah.
with, like,
Basically,
all right,
his
tell me
friend,
your little
his friend's
psychic
like,
dreams.
really, bro.
Mhm.
We let so he was basically like, I hope you know what you're doing, because we let this random ass ship through, off of your dream. And he's like, yeah, it's what we're supposed to do. And he's like, well, there's another almost identical ship that just showed up, so I hope we sent through the right one.
Yeah. Yeah, because they're both from First Foundation.
Terminus.
Yeah, from Terminus.
They're both similar. They're a little different in design. Like the
Mhm.
one that Pellerat and Trevize have is slightly bigger. Compor's is smaller, but
I would say his dream is correct, though, right? I mean, you gotta be dreaming about
yeah, it
our
was
boy
correct.
Trev.
It was correct for reasons that will be revealed momentarily.
Mm-hmm.
So they get to this planet. Compor intercepts them, and he's like, "You guys, talk to me." And Trevise is like, "I want nothing to do with you. And also, we are not on first name bases.
Yeah. I
So
remember that.
you better not call me by my first name, and I won't call you by my first name because I thought I could trust you. I thought we were friends.
Yeah.
Because I mean, in his defense, they were together for like a long time. They'd known each other through like college and all this.
Yeah. He sold him out to the mayor.
Yeah. So Trevise was like, I can't trust you. So Comport's trying to talk to him. He's warning him that the mayor's sent him to follow him and that there's a hyper relay on his ship, so the mayor knows where they are. Great. So he's like, so what are you guys doing? And he's like, we're on our way to go find Gaia. And he's like, because Gaia's Earth. And Comport's like, it can't be Earth. So Comport's from a region called the Sirius.
Oh, no.
She just woke up.
Baby movement. Baby break. Yeah, we're good.
All right. Back to our speed run. So, I left off with Trevise. They get to Seychelles. They land, and Compor intercepts them, and he's like, "So where are you guys going?" And they're like, "We're looking up Earth, and we're gonna go to Gaia." And he's like, "You shouldn't go to Gaia. I'm from the Sirius sector, and that's where my heritage is from," which was all true. We have a legend of Earth, and our legend is that Earth died of radioactivity. You're looking for a dead planet, but if you want to know more about it, you should go to the Sirius sector. You shouldn't be here.
From nuclear weapons of all things.
Yeah, they couldn't. It was astonishing. What planet would kill itself with nuclear weapons?
Yeah, silly gooses.
Yeah. So he leaves them, and Trevise's Pellerat's like, "Oh, this is a great idea. We should go to Sirius." And he's like, "No, I'm on to him. That's what he wants us to do.
Yeah.
But he can't be trusted, so we can't do that."
Anything obvious is what you shouldn't do.
Basically. That, and he's like, and I've realized that...
It's Dale Gribble.
Yeah, he really is. But he's also like, I also realized something just now. In all the years I've known him, I never realized he's a Second Foundationer. Bum, bum, bum. So now even Trevise knows he's from Second Foundation. Because he's like, did you notice? Absolutely no one came in here. And he said that it was because, and it's true, the planet's in a day of meditation. But even when they go out to a restaurant, the waiter's like, yeah, it doesn't mean we shut down. It just means some of us stay home.
Yeah.
Like, it's just
Still
like a day
got
off.
shit to do, bud.
Yeah, there's still people doing things. Like, the city's not shutting down. So, Trevise is like, Pellerat, we need to continue on what we were doing originally. We're here to find out about Gaia, and we're going to see if we can find out anything in the museums and universities. So they end up doing that, and they coincidentally run into this professor, and this professor somehow knows Pellerat. And I say somehow because Pellerat is this, like, not well-known, not renowned, like, he
super
publishes very
academic.
few papers. And this professor somehow read one of his papers recently, like a week or a month before they got there or something.
Yeah.
And he's like, oh, I really wanted to get in contact with you to let you know about some stuff that you can add from our legends to your paper. And Pellerat's like, that's so cool. So
Yeah. He's like, I'm not suspicious at all.
Yeah. So he's like all excited because they're talking all stuff Pellerat loves. And then Trevise brings up Gaia, and he gets all like, oh, we shouldn't talk about this, not here. So they end up going to his house where he hosts them for dinner, and he's trying to act like he doesn't want to tell them, but he's dying to tell them that Gaia is this one planet. He actually points out it's like a hexagon of 5 stars that they call the sisters.
Yeah, pentagon. No?
Pentagon.
Is
My
it?
bad. No, it is. It's a
Okay.
it's 5, so it's a pentagon. A hexagon by definition can't be.
Yeah. No, but because it's just the inside of it. It doesn't make like a star. Pentagon.
No, so the 5 sisters make the shape of the pentagon, and then in the middle of it there's the dim star, that is what they call the little brother. And Pellerat realizes that he had received information that's probably Gaia previous to that. So basically he hints it to Pellerat, and Pellerat helps make the conclusion, and they now know the location of possibly Gaia.
Mm-hmm.
So Pellerat and Trevize decide they're going to go out on the ship to this star. There's a bunch of like, oh, are you sure, da da da, and there is a question on how this information came to Pellerat, because he doesn't remember who would have sent him the info or why, or if it was anonymous, so there is mystery there.
Mm-hmm.
But Pellerat's like, Trevize is like, whatever, we're clearly being guided to this location, so we might as well go.
Yeah. For once.
Yeah. We're not going no serious.
That'll really throw them off to do exactly what they want you to do this time.
Yeah. So they end up going to the planet Gaia. In the meantime, Compor has communicated that they're probably going to continue on to Gaia because they're at a point that they don't trust him for shit.
Mm-hmm.
So Gennibal's going to meet Compor, and basically he's moving in, and he will also be moving towards Gaia because Compor's still following them. And the mayor, who's just been kind of hanging out, Trevize sent out a message to the mayor and was like, hey, just so you know, he sent it through what's
Teams.
it called? The ambassador, basically.
Yeah.
Microsoft Teams didn't crash. He's like, hey, tell the mayor, ambassador of Seychelles, that if I die, if I go missing, it's because we went out to this planet Gaia. And Compor's following, I don't know what Compor's doing, but that's what we're doing. So she has this information of where he's going, and she decides to grab some warships and meet him out there. So everybody is going to Gaia.
Mm-hmm.
And it was this whole stink because, like, how could she move these ships so close to Seychelles? The Seychelles
without
people,
looking like an act of war.
Yeah. And literally,
why would she encroach on their territory?
her dude was like, just keep
do like an
everybody chill.
exercise. Yeah.
Keep everybody chill. We're not even going to go into Seychelles space. We're just going
Seychelles,
to...
yeah.
Seychelles, seashore, by the seashore.
Yeah, really.
Our plan is to just hang out in our space and, like, basically hug the border between our space and your space until we get to Gaia,
Mm-hmm.
who is technically in no space because Gaia isn't even part of the Seychelles.
Hell, it might even be in
Union.
hyperspace. Right? And,
That's
already brought up
literally
those
one of
theories?
the legends. No, I didn't, but like there's literally a legend that Gaia might be in hyperspace.
Mm-hmm.
And I forgot, I highlighted the quote somewhere, but they were like, that doesn't make any sense.
Mm-hmm.
Anyway, everybody's head to Gaia.
But that it consciously left and went into hyperspace because it got like mad. It is cool, like myth kind of theme there.
Yeah.
Or you go like, nobody believes that literally. Like, what do you mean the planet decided to peace out?
The planet was
It got
mad at
mad.
everybody and it left.
Yeah. Like they literally believe that. It's like, well, no, it's an allegory. It's deeper than true, man.
So everybody's gonna meet up at Gaia. Trevize and Pellerat are the first ones to get there, and their ship immediately is pulled in, but not by a, oh god, what's it called?
Godzilla?
No, what's it called when you're like pulled in by the
Tractor beam?
Yeah, it's not a
in-
tractor beam.
In Star Wars.
Something else has grabbed a hold of the ship, and the computer is not responding. The
Mhm.
computer gives two shits. Like, they can do random things. Like, I bet if they wanted to use it like a calculator, they could.
Yeah.
But
The Keurig still works.
yeah, like, but the computer doesn't want to respond or
Yeah, the
let
super
Trevize
advanced
take over.
telepathic connecting computer.
Yeah. Which ironically we haven't touched on, but Trevize is like the only person in the galaxy that is able to intuitively use these computers.
Yeah, his buddy can technically use it, but
His buddy can
He
use
does
it,
drive
but
it a
hates
little
it,
bit, no?
and he feels that it's clunky.
mhm.
Gennibal ends up taking over Compor's ship and feels like it's clunky and hates it. Pellerat tries to use the computer, hates it.
Mm.
He actually constantly says that he feels the ship doesn't like him.
Yeah.
What else?
Just their time on Seychelles.
Well, no, we already left Seychelles, but
Yeah.
I was just trying to think of who else. Oh yeah, and I guess the only point about before we left Seychelles, like Gaia was such a weird topic because the legend about Gaia is that it protects the Seychelles Union.
Mm-hmm.
Because Seychelles has been neutral not just through the Mules' time, it's been neutral through the Foundation time, the Mules' time, and even the Empirical time.
Mm-hmm.
And the people of Seychelles have this like theory that if you piss Gaia off, it can turn against you, because they have sent fleets and ships to Gaia in the past, not necessarily them, but even other people trying to conquer it, and the ships always come back all dismantled, or the fleet is always like been destroyed.
It's on there where you hear the story about again, right, from the mule, where the mule said.
Yeah, that is. There is a theory that the mule comes from there because he said I wouldn't want to go to to Gaia again.
To attack them again.
Yeah.
And they only heard again, like under his breath. Nobody was supposed to hear that he said again.
Yeah.
It was when he was signing the treaty to
Because
not.
he had dropped some pen and someone was picking it up.
The whole detail, which was kind of weird. But
I guess they were just trying to make it where it would make sense. But
yeah, like an urban legend, but believable.
So that's the story of Gaia, basically. And so Treves is being pulled in. His ship is being pulled in. And him and Pellerat make a deal on whether... Because they see his ship start to approach them. And they make a deal that when they get back to Terminus, they will have a dinner. And whoever's right will have to pay for the dinner. So, is the thing approaching us human or non-human?
Yeah. Because they're playing with, what this enemy could be. If it's not, like I was joking, third Foundation.
Yeah, what is this thing?
Mm-hmm.
Because at this point, Treves is sure that he's been guided there.
Yeah.
So, onto the ship, boards, through tether, ironically. They make a big deal about how this ship, tethers onto them. And this is, an old technology where they would send, a rope and someone would come out on a spacesuit and, walk across space to your ship. Instead of the Foundation's new fancy, bridge that just connects.
Boop, boop, boop. Extendo tube.
You basically, it welds to your ship and you don't have to do anything and you don't have to... Anyway. So... Someone... It's a humanoid shape and he's like, oh, it looks human. Is it? And he's like, I don't know. I mean, we gotta see it once it's out of the spacesuit. So it tethers onto the ship, walks on over, and they remove their spacesuit, and it's a woman.
Nice.
Very nice. She actually is described very nice.
Yeah, actually.
She's a young, attractive woman.
Our professor got schmitten.
And
He's
she's basically like, we've been waiting for you. Mm-hmm. Great to have you here. And Treves is like, you've been waiting for us? She's like, yeah, we knew. We needed you.
Yeah.
So this is basically where the book gets the most interesting. But I've condensed it all into... Because there is a bit of fluff.
He's so smitten, he goes, are you a human? And she says...
do I look human?
I mean, I look human. Don't I look human? So he's like, very nice.
No, actually he doesn't. Treves, ironically...
Well, not Treves, but Pellerat, yeah.
Pellerat's the one that immediately is, very nice. Treves is kind of acting funky for a guy that likes
who's a womanizer, a playboy.
He's acting like he don't want nothing to do with her.
Mm-hmm.
Which is sus.
Super sus.
My word is back.
Yeah. We gotta be inclusive of all...
I need Gen Z to understand me.
Yeah, of all... what the fuck they called? Age brackets.
So.
Mm-hmm.
She tells them that they're gonna go down to Gaia. They end up getting pulled down to Gaia. The planet literally... guides them, because what she ends up telling them is that Gaia is one big shared consciousness.
Mm-hmm. We're all Gaia. Mm-hmm. He's like, where's Gaia? Like, I am Gaia.
I am Gaia. We are Gaia.
Mm-hmm. Very culty, weird, all is
we
one,
are all
man.
Gaia. The tree is Gaia.
Yep.
We all contribute.
They wanted
So-
to meet some specific guy. I forget his name, but that she's like, he's here. I'm here. Like everybody's here. If you know one of us, we're all an extension of the same
Oh.
being.
Well, that's a little later. So, because they end up meeting this character named Dom, who's got this like ridiculous name. Because on Gaia,
that's
for
right.
some
Yeah,
reason,
yeah.
the more syllables your name has, the more respect and higher up you are in their
Mhm.
hierarchy. And the way they say is that you participate. Sorry,
Yeah.
you participate in the shared consciousness,
Mhm.
and
They still claim you
and
can
you
be an individual.
contribute,
You're
so,
just
like,
aware of everything.
yeah, supposedly, but
Mhm.
you participate and you contribute. So like trees participate, but they contribute little. Dom participates, but because he was such a great mind, he contributes more or has a
Mhm.
bigger share of Gaia.
Yeah.
So
He's more Gaia.
that's like him explaining to them the way it works,
Mhm.
basically. And then he's like, look, we brought you here, Travis, because you're going to have to make a very serious decision for the galaxy. And he's like, why me? He's like, because we like the way your brain works.
Because you have great like intuition, basically.
Yeah.
This weird, hard to pin down thing. Combo of luck and intuition.
He just, they constantly say that he's able to make conclusions.
Yeah, the right decision.
The right decisions, or to make right conclusions from little to no data.
Mhm.
So everyone's very jealous of that. So we basically have Travis. He's now being sent back out into space to meet up with none other than the mayor, who is now pulled in on her warship, and Genibal, who's also pulled in on his not
Mhm.
warship but Compor's taken over ship.
Literally triangulated. There's three of them
Yep.
just in position over this mythical Gaia planet.
And there's back and forth between the mayor and Genibal, because she knows that he's Second Foundation, and
Mhm.
she confesses to him that she knows where the Second Foundation is officially. And
Yeah.
they're basically, they get into this little mini fight because he's trying to manipulate her. She's got one of the versions of the upgraded mind static field up.
Yeah.
So he's having a hard time. He is able to overpower it, but it is problematic. Like, it's not as streamlined as if he just had access to her freely.
Mhm. He even says, if I have to break through it, it's going to hurt you even more.
Yeah.
Like, I
Like if
can
you were to
break through
shatter
it.
the sorry. If you were
Mhm.
to shatter the shield, he
Mhm.
could potentially shatter her mind.
Mhm. He's like, but I will break in
But
there.
she's like, well, if you shatter my mind, you destroy the mayor, and you could potentially open up the
Yeah.
galaxy to, like,
We're both
crazy.
still Selden bros.
They're gonna be trying to figure out what happened to me, and like, there's gonna be a lot of people wondering if you're existing again. Like, basically, you're
You're going to give yourself away and
Yeah,
fuck up the plan.
not just that, it's also going to be like a Pandora's box, because they'll lose control as opposed to gain control.
Mm-hmm.
Because everybody will be nervous, or like they'll lose confidence in the Foundation after the figurehead dies. So and, I don't know. That's all part of the back and forth. All of a sudden, while they're having this back and forth, Novi, who's just been hanging out, she just takes over everybody's mind, and she's like, "It's okay. We're all going to be in a stalemate." And basically, Genibal's like, "Novi, you're a Gaian?
Yeah.
How could you?"
You're
thought-
Gaia, basically.
Yeah, she literally tells him, she's like, "I am Gaia,
Mm-hmm.
and we are going to have a conversation, and Travis is going to decide the fate of the universe."
And just so everybody's clear, Novi is his sidekick, the one that's...
Hmm?
Novi's the one that was...
Novi is the Hamish
Yeah,
woman who is no longer speaking
the smooth brain.
Hamish-like.
Yeah.
The smooth brain ended up being smooth for a reason.
Mm-hmm. Because she's part of a cult.
So Travis pulls
Kinda
up.
funny 'cause she's literally brainwashed.
She actually felt, she was like, "I miss home."
Mm-hmm.
So Travis pulls up, and basically, this is the three options are presented to him.
Mm-hmm.
He could choose to side with the mayor and the First Foundation. The issue with doing that is that the mayor would actually take over everything through force, which isn't how the Selden plan is supposed to play out. By doing so, it would actually weaken the entire empire.
And she knows where Second Foundation is too, so that she'd probably wipe them out.
Yeah, she'd probably wipe out Second Foundation, and she'd probably take things over by force and move the capital before it's ready. As a result, the Second Empire would be built quicker, but it would be a weak empire because, things that she took over through violence would probably retaliate against her, or it would only be there would be so many times that she can constantly fight off people trying to fight her away, because there was still a lot of anti-Foundation and anti and pro-independence stuff going around. So it would just be a constant uphill battle that would probably get worse with her taking over things by force. If they went with the Second Foundation, if you pick the Second Foundation would just be way too calculative and...
Yeah, do you want the secret Illuminati psychic puppet masters running everything forever? Like, they'll keep the peace. I mean, they'll just keep on, manipulating everything to stick to the plan. But it's going to be that way of control. Secretive psychic control over everything. Over everybody's will. Okay, without them even knowing often.
Yeah, it was also along the lines... I can almost... Let me see if I could find it.
Yeah.
Because it was also this idea of, like, they aren't going to take risk ever.
Yeah, by committee. It's going to be ruled by, literally is the table, the counselor, everything is going to be reserved.
And they're still going to have this, like, inward... Like, within the table, it's not like they're free of...
Yeah, and fighting and bickering. Because that's what was important about highlighting that with Delora. Was that it's not like these guys are godly saints or something like that. They are still petty humans in a lot of ways. Even if they are more intelligent and more gifted with the psychic ability to subtly alter leaders to bring about peace. But like you said, it's going to be ruled by committee, more reserved, less brash, definitely less freedom, less creativity, but this weird kind of safe option. And how, like you say, what do you mean how does he implement this decision? It's because they're going to use the combined will of the Gaia, the whole planet full of mules, was how one of them, like she says, the mule was an aberration.
Oh yeah, I forgot. We didn't touch on that. If you want to go into that.
I mean, that's just it. That like, if the mule was so powerful that he jacked up the whole Selden plan and was able to manipulate people and do all this totally unexpected stuff. Nobody even thought that was a possibility. Well, he came from Gaia, but that was confirmed, right? I mean, he came from Gaia.
Yeah, he actually was
theorize
Gaian,
that,
and they don't understand how he got away.
Yeah, nobody's allowed to escape. So like, there's tons of culty. I guess just cult. Just think of it as a giant, productive, happy, psychic cult. Like, it's still controlled. There's not a lot of free will. They claim they can and this and that, but they also claim they're parts of it. Before I forget, there's I guess that's part of the decision. I don't want to give that part away. When they're bickering back and forth, one of the critiques that he makes.
Genibal does try to get the mayor to team up with him. He's like, we can both take out Gaia.
Mm-hmm.
And then, because he creates what they call the network through the speakers.
Yeah.
Where they basically, like, all the minds are going to come together. In a funny way, it's a very Gaia thing. They're all going to become one consciousness or send their power through one person, which would be Genibal.
Yeah.
But from across the galaxy.
Unite. The Captain Planet. Yeah.
Around.
With their brains.
Nothing gonna come and break me down. So, that was going to be a thing. But Novi ends up telling him, like, yeah, I've cut you off from everyone, so that's not going to happen.
Yeah.
I'm just looking.
Yeah, I was going to say, what specific quote about the whole control, about why using the second foundation to just keep them in place. You're just remembering where it says that it's trying to go with, that's the safer choice, but it's not free and it's not creative and it just doesn't feel like it has a soul to let a secret room full of backdoor.
Alright, I found where Novi's like, you all hear me in your mind. The Second Galactic Empire, worked out after the fashion of Terminus, will be a military empire established by strife, maintained by strife, and eventually destroyed by strife.
Mm-hmm.
It will be nothing but the First Galactic Empire reborn. The Second Galactic Empire, worked out after the fashion of Transfor, will be a paternalistic empire established by calculation, maintained by calculation, and in perpetual living death by calculation. It will be a dead end.
Mm-hmm.
So what does Gaia have to offer as an alternative? Greater Gaia, Galaxia, every inhabited planet as alive as Gaia, every living planet combined into a still greater hyperspatial life, every uninhabited planet participating.
Yeah.
A way of life fundamentally different from all that has gone before and repeating none of the old mistakes. Originating new ones, muttered Genable sarcastically.
Not sardonically, I noted.
I know.
In my head.
It was sarcastically.
Huge thing we forgot to mention
those were the kind of the three I really wanted to get.
Yeah, no, that was the best quote of the whole part. Amazing quote. Just again, the walls are alive. the Gaians.
There is this whole like little section where, when they meet Dom, and Dom's like, for fun, I create these glasses that help you, like the ones I create make it so that you can see the feelings of inanimate objects, which I found extremely fun.
Yeah.
Because
she jokes she's a panpsychic, everyone. My wife believes in the panpsychism. Yeah. Well, these guys, it's kind of like a feng shui concept, like and even like this thing doesn't bring joy. What's that lady? Kondo, something
Mary
like
Kondo.
The cleanup lady, and like that stuff wants. It has like a little will.
Listen,
you also get Greek like a good.
I have the quote
there's
somewhere.
There's a goodness of a chair if it's a good chair.
Backward, but yeah, the goodness of a chair, because it's doing its purpose, and so the glasses can tell you if like the thing is happy because it's fulfilling its purpose.
Yeah, and so like the psychic council, like we're just the smart guys that run everything. That's, I think, is like a play on communism. Remember, this is written in '82, and then like the other one is just war. We're just gonna First Foundation is militarily strong, but it came together through warfare. And I don't know if that's supposed to be a critique on the U.S. or really just Rome. Like they're just gonna conquer people, but then they're gonna get conquered eventually by people. Like you said, I love that strife. Like it was born through strife and it will die through strife.
I mean, they do a whole breakdown. I have it in a different part because Genable actually tries to convince the mayor. He's like, you can't destroy the Second Foundation because we've kept you guys from becoming exactly what you would become. The mayor hates it because she feels like if they're going to collapse as a society, they should just be allowed to collapse and make the decision out of their free will.
Yeah.
Whereas Genable and the Second Foundation feel like they should follow the plan to keep the species going.
Yeah. But, and then this, I was going to say synthesis, because I might as well just say, like, that's the Mass Effect thing. I think Mass Effect obviously directly drew from this, to the point that you even have the refusal ending, where he literally says, what if I just refused? I don't want to choose which one of these options. Because in Mass Effect, at the very end, you have to pick, do you want to take control of the Reapers, these organisms that control the galaxy, basically? Do you want to control them and become them and use this technology for good? Do you want to just destroy them because they've killed countless trillions of people? Or do you want to synthesize? You get a new option where you could change all life so that there is no more fighting between AIs and organics. And so you're presented with those three options plus refuse, and that's our exact same scenario here with Trev. That should the whole world be this kind of culty, feng shui, all is one, with the Gaia, with the Galaxia? It would just be one galaxy-spanning organism? Or do we let the control option would be to let Second Foundation keep using their psychic secret backdoor powers to control everything?
Or let First Foundation just...
Or the military control, just destroy option, just destroy all these weird groups trying to psychically manipulate us, like the Reapers would do in Mass Effect.
So that we're really just at the whim of our own decisions.
Free will with all the chaos that comes with all the power struggles that entails. So, go ahead. Sorry.
No, I mean, so at this point, he makes his decision. He ends up, I don't know, I almost feel like this is so anticlimactic, but he ends up siding with Gaia.
But yeah, well, because it's written really cool. Great. Was that you?
Yeah, it was me.
That's cool. He doesn't know what to pick, which of these options, and then...
Which the mayor brings up that same quote. She's like, I remember that you told me.
Mm-hmm. One day that she would have to let him decide. But he mentions, though, there was a whole foreshadowing of him with his friend here, that he feels like the friend will be important too for some reason. And he notes...
Oh yeah, he turns to his friend. He's like, Pellerot, what do you think? And Pellerot sits there and he goes, well, I'm going to be honest. I can see why you're nervous about this, because this is a big decision. I was nervous once, and you guided me into space, and you helped me get over my fears. So the only thing that I can think of is that when you did this, and we sat there and looked at the map, and you moved through time, you showed me how space is alive.
Yeah.
And it was that quote.
It's almost like a time lapse of the galaxy, and it felt like, you ever seen like the plants where they move, like they go away towards the sun, they come back, they close. It's like, oh, okay, this thing's more of a living. It almost looks like an animal, So the galaxy seemed more like a living thing. But he says that as Trev is trying to decide on which to do, and obviously that aligns with this Galaxia idea, this turning the entire galaxy into one big organism.
Oh, an interesting point before we reveal what it was. Is it not true that you can establish this living galaxy you speak of without me doing anything? Why then do you not?
Yeah, perfect.
Trev asking Gaia. Gaia was formed thousands of years ago with the help of robots that once, for a brief time, served the human species and now serve them no more.
Mm-hmm.
Three option... you wrote a note, my bad.
Oh, yeah.
Help of robots that once for a brief time served the human species and now serve them no more. They made it quite clear to us that we could survive only by a strict application of the three laws. Oh, your note and my note.
No way.
My quote.
They noted over?
They made it quite clear to us that we could survive only by a strict application of the three laws of robotics as applied to life generally. The first law in those terms is Gaia may not harm life, or through inaction allow life to come to harm. We have followed this rule through all of our history and we can do no other. The result is that we are now helpless. We cannot force our vision of the living galaxy upon a quintillion human beings and countless other forms of life, and perhaps do harm to vast numbers. Literally, and then explaining, because basically it was like, well, how do I make the decision? They were like, you literally just put your hands on the terminal and think which one. I was like, oh, like a video game.
Which is what you do in Mass Effect at the ending.
Which one you want.
For synthesis, you have to grab onto these little, things, controls. So I was like, that's literally what happens in this book. You have to just grab the terminal, and your willpower is going to allow all of Gaia's willpower to bring about whichever one of these three options you want to bring.
So he says... If you are assured domination by Terminus will do the galaxy less harm than any other alternative, we will gladly help that domination along, even at the cost of our own destruction. Because he was basically like, why?
Yeah, why would
you
you let me
agree?
destroy you?
When you will ask me for you ruin all my quotes.
I don't know why I put it in the middle. That's funny.
That basically the mayor was like, you had told me that there would come a time when you would ask me for an effort, and I will then do as I choose, and I will remember the past 2 days. I don't know whether you foresaw this or intuitively felt it would happen, or simply had what this woman who speaks of the living galaxy calls a talent for rightness. Basically, the mayor was trying to, like, reach out to Trev.
And call it back. And say, look, man, we got history.
You're one of us.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, remember, you're her first Foundationer. And just because I was petty to you, too, she has the whole thing on that. Like, don't take it out on us.
Do not destroy the entire Federation out of a desire to balance what I alone have done to you.
Yeah.
You want yourself, your descendants, your fellow people to be independent organisms possessing free will. Nothing else matters. It is our free will choice whether this should be so or not. We may choose otherwise, and in any case, it is better to go to defeat with free will than to live in a meaningless security as a cog in a machine.
Mm-hmm. With the Galaxia.
Observe that you are now being asked to make a decision as a free will human being. These things of Gaia are unable to make a decision because their machinery will not allow them to, so that they depend on you.
Beautiful.
And they will destroy themselves if you bid them. Is that what you want for all the galaxy?
Mm-hmm. Couldn't somebody else just come along? This galaxy-spanning organism that doesn't think for itself, but also thinks by committee. Like, it's a very strange, bad, dangerous precedent to set. These 3 options are 3 litmus tests, 3 almost IQ tests or behavior tests, whatever you want to call it. For like it's an intuition test. Funny enough, because that's really what it is. It's an intuition test, which is exactly what's supposed to be so special about Trev. Like that, he just has crazy good intuition, and none of these committee guys can't pin that down. A Selden plan can't, mathematical formula of an individual. Like, that's what's so special, is someone's intuition. So
that was basically the mayor appealing to Trev.
Yeah.
Then we have the speaker.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, the speaker of...
The fact that you are Terminus born should not lead you to believe that Terminus comes before the galaxy.
Mm-hmm.
Do not do anything to disrupt the plan, either on behalf of a narrow concept of patriotism or out of a romantic longing for the new and untried. The second foundation will in no way hamper the free will of humanity. We are guides, not despots.
Yeah.
And we offer a second galactic empire fundamentally different from the first. Choose Mayor Brano, and that will continue endlessly into the future, the same dreary, deadly round.
Yeah.
The Selden plan offers release from that at last, and not at a price of becoming one more atom in a galaxy of atoms, being reduced to equality with grass, bacteria, and dust.
I loved it.
Are they free of destructive competition of politics, a clawing of upward at all costs? Are there not quarrels and even hatreds at the speaker's table? And will they always be guides you dare follow? Put Speaker Genibal on his honor and ask him this. Gaia to Trev.
Yeah. I love that he's calling out, you can't have it both ways. If these Gaia people, they act like they have free will, no, we're still individuals, we still sense like a sense of I, and it really is just them doing things, right? Having their little life joys and pleasures and pains. But they just also exist at this other level. And he's like, but you can't have it both ways. Are you fully a human or are you not?
Yeah.
And of course he's going to play that card. Like,
he says,
look out for the whole galaxy.
Genibal goes, I freely admit we have our hatreds, competitions, and betrayals at the table, but once a decision is reached, it is obeyed by all. That has never been an exception to this.
So it's all the positive sides he sees of the Galaxia, of the Gaia thing, without the being this weird hippie that thinks the wall's talking to you. And that you're no more important than a blade of grass. What else?
No. Then that's when he talks to Bellerot. He says, because he says, Jenov, have you heard all this? Yes, I have, Golan. Travis, what do you think? The decision is not mine. But he says, I don't know. I am frightened by all three alternatives, and yet a peculiar thought comes to me. Yes. When we first went into space, you showed me the galaxy. Do you remember? And Travis, remembering that moment, was suddenly sure. He remembered suddenly his feeling that Pellerot too would have a vital role to play. And then basically he places his hands on the terminal, and then
it says he was sure then. Then he was like certain.
Yeah.
He made his decision. As soon as he said that he saw that the galaxy was a living thing, and he remembered this weird intuition. He
placed his hands on the terminals and thought with an intensity he had never known before. He had made his decision, the decision on which the fate of the galaxy hung.
You see that wording again as the Mass Effect thing, like he's going to change the whole galaxy here. This one guy, which is hilarious. All these moral debates that they're having, it's like he's imposing it on, like you said, quintillions.
It's cool because, like, I have the quote somewhere, but basically he asked Gaia too, like, why are you doing this now? And Gaia said, look, we're doing this now because we foresee that the first Foundation and the second Foundation will have to come to a head, like you were saying. The first Foundation's technology is getting too far ahead of the second Foundation, and they're secretly working on things like the mind static machine. Like right now, they have what's described as a leakage, where Genible's actually able to like fight it on his own and kind of like sleep into a weakness that it has and still kind of hold the mayor at bay. But if they continue to develop it, he won't be able to protect himself or stop it from it stopping him. Then we also have the second Foundation, which is also becoming a bit too powerful. Like they're on the way. Gaia mentions that they're kind of working towards where they sometimes feel like a unified consciousness, and they would just be too strong. No one would be able to stop them, including Gaia. Like
a big conscious snowball rolling across the galaxy.
They would be battling each other, and Gaia might actually not be able to win. Also, they might just start to think they can just take over. Like they would just be blatantly mind controlling people.
They have a very strange sense of ethics.
Yeah, they're not supposed to go around mind controlling.
They aren't. I know the second Foundation people don't, but Gaia says that too.
Gaia
explicitly
tries.
Yeah.
They try to just nudge people. They honestly, in a funny way, Gaia's
clearly
just making sure that things are staying on track. They don't want to go around just.
But they're not following the plan or nothing. I mean.
Yeah, they are. They're super following the plan.
Gaia was.
Yeah.
Like on purpose? Yeah, I mean, I know
they're
the ones making it make sense.
Super making sure.
Yeah.
That everything, and it's why, I don't know if you remember in book 2.
Yeah.
That there was a predicted part where in the Selden plan, at some point, you would have two forces pulling in different directions. And it would be an issue where if they fell into a compromise, neither of them would feel that they won.
Yeah.
And the Second Empire would be established but would fall apart after a certain amount of years. And if either of them won too early,
they won't be strong enough.
The Empire would either not get established at all, or would it be established and crumble before, and we might end up in an even longer than 30,000 year Dark Ages. I don't know if you remember this.
Yeah, for sure. We talk about it on the thing.
Okay. I mean, I wasn't sure how many details you remembered.
Yeah.
But I have a feeling this is like that situation that they were talking about, because you have this first Foundation that technologically speaking is moving forward, but if they were to win, like Gaia and Genibal point out, they would be basically winning on this idea of like war and taking over by force, because they would feel like they can at that point, because technologically speaking, they're the most advanced.
Yeah, yeah. That's what they're working towards. I guess I just don't get why don't the Gaians feel like it's. They seem like they don't think it's morally okay to just bring everybody into the fold. And then how does one actually become these psychic Gaians all connected?
You're born there.
Just being born on Gaia itself, the planet, does it?
Yeah,
It seemed like it was trained because they play with this whole train thing a couple generations out.
You know what's really strange is that the actual second Foundation hasn't been able to do this. I don't know if you remember this. And I'm gonna be honest. I can give you the theory. I'm just no. So the second Foundation, they couldn't pass down their mental powers.
Yeah.
So like speakers don't generally have like their kids be speakers and stuff because it just doesn't work that way.
Mm-hmm.
Like it's why they're constantly recruiting minds from other parts of the world. Other parts of the galaxy because they're like not able. It's not like a genetic thing that they've mastered where they can like have their next generation be.
Yeah.
Whatever. Like.
But with the Gaians, that's why you can't just join them. They can't just take over a planet and now they're all Gaian. But
with the Gaians,
a couple generations out, they could be.
The influence that they have from the robots, and that's what we end up getting to. So
yeah, we gotta get to there.
Therese ends up picking Gaia.
Yeah.
The mayor ends up leaving the situation, forgetting that
Galaxia.
Gaia and the second Foundation exists, and it's just like this political thing where her and Seychelles, basically like they're in a better position, and they're so honored that the mayor came out to visit them, and it was like a flexing of the first Foundation's power. So she ends up leaving
without military power. Now it's economic power.
Yeah.
Which it always
they're
was
gonna be
with
training
Foundation.
with them, and
yeah, I'm like that's kind of funny.
I know, ironically,
the military
literally
thing was
the
newer.
Seychelles guy, like the ambassador, was like, I mean, we control them economically, but anyway. So she leaves and she forgets that the other people exist. Genibal leaves thinking that he manipulated the mayor.
Yeah.
Like he did little subtle things to get her and Seychelles to that point. And he has Novi with him. So he's taking her back to Trantor.
Yeah. From the second Foundation point of view, it seems a lot like the first book, Foundation 1, where it's like, oh, it's going to be a big war kicked off, and then we subtly, you're like, haha, there's one little tweak, one little thing happened. Not that the psychics were in the first one, but I'm saying the way that Hardin or something would do this one little tactic, and now they averted war. That's what Second Foundation thinks they did. Basically.
And then Therese and Pellerat stay. They're in Gaia. And they know that Therese has picked the Gaian.
You're going to get mind jammed here.
Yeah, sorry.
Don't worry about that.
They know that Therese picked Gaia. And so Therese is getting ready to leave, and Pellerat is confessing to him that he wants to stay. So this character that had gotten on their ship, I forgot to name her for you guys. Her name is Bliss.
Yeah.
Pellerat is blissfully in love with her.
Yeah.
Like actually in love with her.
Like more than his wife.
Yeah, he explains to Therese he's never felt about this about any
He was
woman.
married, and I guess she died, or what? They left him?
No, she just left him.
Yeah, it was with the kids. And he never cared about his human family, but for some reason, he's smitten with this Gaian lady.
I'm trying to find... But, ironically, he was so obsessed with looking for Earth, and he's decided that that's in the past. He literally says...
Yeah, I don't want to...
Absolutely. Earth is in the past, and I'm tired of the past. Gaia is the future.
Which is all, like... It was so creepy to me from the Mass Effect parallels when he picked what would be the equivalent to synthesis. Like, he picked, let's just make everybody one big mind blob. I was like, oh my god. So it made the last chapter so suspenseful. Like, where's he going with this? Why'd he do this?
Yeah.
And then you see that, like, no, never mind. I gave up on the whole finding Earth thing, like his friend.
But Trevise is actually going to pick up the
Yeah, really, the real mantle of finding Earth.
Yeah, he's decided he wants to.
Mm-hmm.
So he tells Pellerot, he's like, look, because Pellerot's basically like, I actually have it here. He goes, suddenly and unexpectedly, I became a galactic traveler. I was involved with galactic crisis, and do not laugh, Golan, I have found bliss.
Yeah.
And he said, all right, that's fine. But he said, I need to talk to Bliss. And he said, I don't want you hurt. I must talk to Bliss.
Yeah.
I won't lecture her. It's not entirely to do with you, and I want to talk to her privately. If I am satisfied, I will give you my heartiest congratulations and goodwill, and I will forever hold my peace, whatever happens.
Mm-hmm.
What's cute is Pellerot shakes his head and he goes, you'll ruin it.
I know. I was gonna say that. It was pretty funny. He's like a little kid. He's like, oh man, you're gonna make it weird.
Yeah.
And
You'll
ruin my girlfriend.
Things.
My new space girlfriend.
So Trevise goes, and the conversation he has with Bliss is one of the most interesting, because throughout the entire book we get teased this idea of robots.
Yeah.
Because this, I don't remember.
Because it's all woven into the myths surrounding humanity's origins, and one of them is that they had these things called robots, but no, there are no robots. There are no robots in the galaxy. They once used to serve humanity, but they don't serve them anymore. And nobody really knows. It's so cool to think of a big sci-fi universe like this, and I think people assume they think Star Wars, but there are no robots. Right? I mean,
yeah.
Anywhere.
I will ask you that question in a minute.
What?
The decision I had to make has been made. I decided in favor of Gaia and Galaxia. Why then all of this talk of a clear and untouched mind? You have what you want, and you can do with me how you wish. Not at all, Trev. There are other decisions that may need to be that may be needed in the future. Undoubtedly, there are others like you in the galaxy, and others like you will appear in the future. But for now, we know of you, and only you. We still cannot touch you. Then he said, can I talk to you as an individual, if that has any meaning at all?
Yeah.
And she said, I can block off Gaia for a period of time. And he said, have you? And she said, yes, I have done so. You did not enter my mind to influence my decision, perhaps, but you certainly entered Janov's mind to do so, didn't you? Janov's mind, the thought was in his mind, but there were so many thoughts there. I smoothed the path before the reminiscence of his about the living galaxy, and not before any other thought of this. Mind you, I did not create the thought, it was there.
Which is just manipulative as hell.
Yep. Nevertheless, that amounted to an indirect tampering with the perfect independence of my decision, did it not? Gaia felt it necessary.
Yeah.
Well, it may make you feel better or nobler to know that although Janov's remark persuaded me to make the decision at the moment, it was the decision I think I would have made even if he had said nothing, or if he had tried to argue me into a decision of a different kind. I want you to know that.
Which is where I cried, because he's saying, the Mass Effect comparison, he picked synthesis, he would have done it anyways. It wasn't just this manipulation. I just love that they're keeping with the theme. You can't trust these people, these psychic manipulative bastards. Trust your instincts. These guys are a weirdo cult thing.
And this is where he starts to corner her, and he says, when we approached Gaia, it was you on the spaceship. It was you who trapped us. I am Gaia. That does not explain it. A rabbit is Gaia. A pebble is Gaia. Everything on the planet is Gaia, but they are not all equally Gaia. Some are more equal than others. Yeah. Why you? Because I don't think you're Gaia. I think you're more than Gaia. Bliss made a derisive sound with her lips.
Yeah.
I remember. So Novi did not say. I remember her exact words. She said, "Gaia was formed thousands of years ago with the help of robots that once, for a brief time, served the human species and now serve them no more." Well, Trev, doesn't that mean that they exist no more? No, it means they serve no more. Might they not rule instead?
Mm-hmm.
Unless you are the supervisor whose role it is to make certain that Gaia does not forget the 3 laws, unless you are a robot so cleverly made that you cannot be told from a human being. Do you not all assure me I have the faculty of being sure, of making decisions, seeing solutions, drawing correct conclusions? I don't claim this. This is what you say of me. Well, from the moment I saw you, I felt uneasy. There was something wrong with you. I'm certainly as susceptible to feminine allure as Pellerat is. More so, I should think. And you're an attractive woman in appearance. Yet not for one moment did I feel the slightest attraction.
Roasted. You got more?
When you first appeared on our ship, Janov and I had been discussing the possibility of a non-human civilization on Gaia. When Janov saw you, he asked, "Are you human?"
Yeah.
Perhaps a robot must answer the truth, but I suppose it could be evasive. You merely said, "Don't I look human?" Yes, you look human, Bliss, but let me ask you again, are you human? You're a robot, and I could somehow tell, and because of my feeling, all the events that followed had meaning for me, particularly your absence from dinner.
Yeah.
Robots have reached the pitch of perfection even thousands of years ago, where only by their brains were they distinguishable from human beings, and then only by those able to handle metallic fields. Yet, though I am without metallics, I am nevertheless convinced you are a robot, Bliss. Bliss said, "But what if I am? I admit nothing, but I am curious. What if I am?"
Mm-hmm.
If I needed a last bit of evidence, it was your calm assurance that you could block off Gaia and speak to me as an individual. I don't think you could do that if you were part of Gaia, but you are not. You're a robot supervisor and therefore outside of Gaia. I wonder, come to think of it, how many robot supervisors Gaia requires and possesses.
Mm-hmm.
In that case, what I want to know is, what do you want of Jav Pellerat? He is my friend, and he is in some ways a child. He thinks he loves you. He thinks he wants only what you are willing to give, and that you have already given him enough. He doesn't know and cannot conceive the pain of the loss of love, or for that matter, the peculiar pain of knowing that you are not human. So she says to him, "Suppose our driving force is the need to care for human beings, and suppose there are no true human beings on Gaia because all are part of an overall planetary being. Suppose that it fulfills us to care for Gaia, but not entirely. Suppose there is something primitive in us that longs for a human being in the sense that existed when robots were first formed and designed."
Mm-hmm.
And she admits, "I want him too. If you assume that I am a robot, you see that I would. I am capable of all human reactions, and I would love him. What difference would it make if Robo..." Oh, you wrote that.
Oh.
He wrote, "What difference would it make if Robo outcomes same isn't that emotion?"
They don't have a concept of metaphysics. So the classic experiment, like you could study all the wavelengths of color, but it's not the same as perceiving color. I would say like smells and taste, like it's all chemicals, you can map that out. But there's certain tastes you like, certain ones you don't. The robots and people that defend AI, like in real life shit, what this applies to is, I don't really care about your output. You doing an action tells me nothing about if there's an internal subjective experiencer behind that. But so she literally says that, almost like straw mans or makes the point that like a robot would say, like, but I do the same shit as you do, so aren't I living? Isn't my life? Is like, no, I have no idea if there's any qualia in there, if there's any subjective experiencer in that brain. In that brain. I'm already granting them too much. Go ahead, you had more though, right?
I mean, I have.
Yeah, you got a lot more.
So G tells him, G assures him, "I will treat him well, not as a reward to you, but because I wish to. In my earnest desire, I will treat him well." So he gives Pel the heartiest. He goes, "I will probably be leaving Gaia. I go now to speak to Dom about that. I don't know when or if we will meet again, Jenna, but in any case, we did well together." And he says, "I'm happy for you both." So while he's talking to Dom, Trevize, he says, there are 3 things I might have done. I might have joined the first foundation, or joined the second foundation, or joined Gaia. If I joined with Gaia, however, then the first foundation and the second foundation would each have been left with the conviction of having won a relatively minor victory. All would then have continued as before, since the building of Galaxia, I had already been told, would take generations, even centuries. Joining with Gaia was my way of temporizing then, and making sure that there would remain time to modify matters or even reverse them if my decision were wrong.
To throw in, because I was making the Mass Effect comparisons, is not the same in the fact that it's going to affect the whole galaxy at once if he chooses the Gaia. Like, because they even say it'll take hundreds of years to do that, to bring about this galaxy-spanning organism where all the minds are shared and everybody is one man, you know? So I ended up kind of agreeing. I was like, well, yeah, that one, like, I think we both agreed, right, that is the decision then, because it buys you time.
Yeah.
Whereas we don't want to kill off all the second foundation or first foundation.
He also knows it's buying him time because he's on a mission now too, and he says, there's one thing I must do in order that I might know whether you made the right decision or not, and it is my intention to visit Earth if I can find that world.
Mm-hmm. Does that happen before this or after this? That he asks the second foundation guy if he, like, about the Earth stuff? Why did they cover up Earth?
No, it isn't the second foundation. It's right here. He's talking to Dom on Gaia. He says, there's a piece of information you withheld from me, Dom. Perhaps you had your reasons, but I wish you had
That's
not.
what I mean, that
one of the things was the clearing from Trantor's library of all the references to Earth.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't remember. To Dom's basically like, what? And he goes, Earth must be important, and not only does it appear that the second foundation must know nothing about it, but that I must not either. And if I am to take responsibility for the direction of galactic development, I do not willingly accept ignorance. Are you telling me that Gaia is not responsible? And Dom says, it is not responsible.
He's trying to call bullshit on them, like, you're acting like you're just giving me this totally blank slate. Here's all the facts. We just really want you to do it. But he's like, you clearly are the ones that cleared out all the stuff on. That's what I meant by second foundation. Second foundation doesn't even know Earth shit.
But he even tells Trevize, he's like, stay a while with us and let us see what we can reason out. Then we can leave. Then you can leave, with our full help.
Which is cool, because he even says to himself before Trev says this, before I can reason myself out of a decision. That's why he went with Galaxia with synthesis. So he knows, he's worried about that. That's how these manipulators work. The more time you spend with them, the more they'll be able to talk you into some other option.
Oh no.
Is she moving?
I think she's waking up.
No.
Yeah. On the bright side, we finished the book.
We did. I know. Do you want to
summary?
Call it? It is getting late.
I think so.
And
I think we
can
should call it and we can talk about it tomorrow.
Yeah, we can just do one where we're talking about all our cool parts.
Did she go back to sleep?
No way. She did, huh? Yeah. She's sleeping.
By God.
But.
By the gods. So, I guess quickly.
Yeah.
What do you want to cover?
So the robots are the equivalent of the second foundation to Gaia, right? They're their little hidden hand that's manipulating things, protecting them.
For sure.
Benevolent overlords.
Whether
also
the Gaians
sneaky
know
and manipulative.
It or
Yeah. I don't know. You go.
No, alright.
I like. It's super late. I don't know.
Oh shit! It's just pretty late. I mean, this book was great. I'm really excited. I think it's interesting. Why do you think Trevize wants to go find Earth?
Because we gotta still know where all the humans came from, just from because the Gaians are human. They are. It's still a human ability, even though the mule is all human species, obviously. but also they made the robots. And so I think he wants to know the true history of this robot issue and just why it's hidden, literally just for the sake that it's hidden.
Do you think that the robots had anything? Because it was said that the robots were the ones that connected with humans mentally at some point.
Yeah.
Do you think the robots could have been the ones that helped Second Foundation train their mentalics? Or do you think Second Foundation happened to have kept their mentalics?
But yeah, they're like, how did they go? Where did they get that from?
Yeah.
Because during even Selden, like none of this is mentioned at all in the first book in Foundation.
Which, all right, there's an author note, and he mentions like it. He knows that none of this stuff was mentioned, and it feels like it's coming out of.
Yeah. But like you said, he touches on some things in the other books. I like the growth of the 3 laws of the robotics expressing itself, because that's why she doesn't lie. The robots can't lie.
Yeah, they can't lie.
There's a kind of big, but it's not that big. It's not a spoiler. It's cool how it's done in Caves of Steel. Is a reveal that how realistic these robots are. That's a huge thing in the robot series, like eating wise, because he makes a whole point like, and you didn't go to dinner, and she's like, dumb, that shit's been solved.
She actually counters that she did technically eat, like
that
when
she nibbles on the chicken.
Ship, she nibbles on the shrimp.
Yeah.
She also talks like, ironically, there's a part where she's talking to Pellerot, and she's like, the only thing I think I need to get rid of is like 6 pounds, and she's like slaps her ass.
Mm-hmm. So the robots, they do all the human thingies. I think all but one.
She says they have sex.
Yeah.
And I admit, with the tone that she had, she acts like they were pretty good at it.
Again, so that is a comparison to Joker from Mass Effect 2. I was saying with Edie that a lot of people defend that you want to go with synthesis, make AI and humans and we're all just one big kumbaya life form. That way nobody has to die ever, and it's because our boy Joker that can't get any, like has issues like that, like our partner here, like our professor in this story.
But isn't Joker actually paralyzed? No, he gets fixed.
He is. He has a bone disease issue thing. Not that he's like a weirdo or anything. It's not his fault, but
no, it's like an immune.
Yeah, he has actual disease. So, but I'm just saying he's in love with a robot, and I love that our hero in this book is based on his intuitions, and it's like, dude, I get you love Edie and you love your robot, but that should be weird. Like, Shepard should be a bro and come in and help him, not make love to a robot.
Dude, you should see there's a lot of red flags right now.
Yeah, like I know, oh my god, it's ignorant. It's like, no, it's code. It's not a person. Stop it. This is, toxic inclusivity or toxic, there's a bad version of being too inclusive. You're including nonsense. Like, this is not a living thing. It's an algorithm. I always said that John, our friend of ours works in computer models, and he works on all these things, and if it was just mechanical, if it was one of these ancient Greek devices that was spitting out responses, but it was all wooden and you saw how it all worked, or it was metal or something, because you don't see the circuitry, because programming is so abstract, I think our brain just grants it a pass. But it's like, it's just responding to inputs, and we made it. And I think that's maybe at least part of why he wants to go to Earth. One, see if there's any more Earthlings. What the hell's Earth been up to? Has it just been nuked to death, I genuinely don't know anything about the next book, so it's pretty cool. I didn't know anything about this one either.
I'm excited to be into book 5. It'll be the last of,
yeah,
because then it's just prelude and forward.
Last in the timeline, yeah.
Also, next speed question.
Since baby could wake up at any moment. The ultimate.
Also, it's kind of late.
Yeah.
Do you suspect, because I actually presented to you this in the beginning when we found out that someone had wiped out the information of Earth, and I remember I had actually asked you, do you think a computer?
Yeah.
Because one of the things that the speakers were all frustrated at is how could another speaker or someone within the speaker, like, fold or the second foundation, wipe out anything without anyone knowing, and behind everyone's back.
Yeah.
And I had told Freddie, what if the computer had done it?
Well, which computer did you mean? You mean a ship computer? Or just
no,
a
I
computer?
meant the second foundation library computer. Like, what if the actual computer had wiped out the information? It wouldn't need permission, and it wouldn't need to notify anyone, and it wouldn't tell. It would just wipe it out.
Especially as long as all it has to do is think that it's helping humanity by doing that.
Yeah.
So that's why you get so many issues. Yeah, I was gonna say a big thread left like we kept thinking something was gonna happen with this ship.
I still think his ship was. Well, no, they do. So Gaia mentions that they tampered with the ship and they made it Gaia-licious, so that's
why it was so comfy to him, so form-fitting to his brain.
Because they do mention that they tampered with the ship, and then the mayor mentions that the ship Compor got was actually the computer was not as good.
Yeah, that's how she was able to track or know that he was.
And he has to have been Second Foundation to predict where.
He was able to track without the technology, right technology. Yeah, because
his computer was actually incapable of tracking or being as smart as Trevise's computer.
Yeah.
But I mean, ironically.
But do you think that knocked out its intelligence? Yeah, but you still think that it was trying.
Regardless, it may or may not be true, because if Gaia got a hold of the computer, it would take them wherever. Like, if Gaia is somehow sending out other computers to manipulate people or to, like, push people.
But do you think that the robot they were trying to play with, the robot, Asimov trying to play with the ship computer being a type of, it's not a robot, but I mean it's an AI system. It's thinking.
For sure.
But it was becoming a sense of self, like its own person.
There are literally, I have highlights, but there are parts where, like, it's almost an intimate. Mold, like, blending of Trevise and the ship. So I think so. And that's like the fact that Pellerat says that the ship doesn't like him.
Yeah. Yeah, it uses a lot of language. We anthropomorphize everything, but so that's going to be the issue with where's the line when it actually starts talking
Other
back to you.
Other characters say the ships are clunky.
Yeah.
But Pellerat literally says the ship doesn't like him. So I would say yes. And I would say I find it suspect. If Dom isn't a robot, he may have not been privy to the information, because, like Trevise said, the robots would be able to keep information from Gaia, since they technically don't have to necessarily connect with Gaia on the same level as the sentient beings all becoming one consciousness on Gaia.
Yeah, they're also stopping... Who's stopping the study of the physics, of the neurophysics, however you want to call it, the psychic physics?
Yeah.
Because it doesn't... There's a whole thing in how most things lose their power squared over distance, but this one doesn't. It's still affected by distance, but it's not like any other stuff, any other energy in the universe. I did.
Okay.
Yeah. So there's tons of open threads here.
I'm telling you, we gotta just have a random talk where we just bounce around.
Yeah.
Now that we've gotten
the summary. All right, so we'll do that next time. We'll bounce around on all our random cool ideas generated from this book. What we expect now that we've done the summary.
I would like to go. It was just hard. We didn't get the chance with this book, but I would really love if in book 5 we just do little.
Through your quotes.
Little talks throughout, like instead of one big talk.
Oh, for sure.
Like we just
this was
do
just
little
life
talks.
got in complicated.
No, this was pretty bad.
Oh, we'll get better about that.
But let's see. We'll aim for it. That would be fun.
Yeah. All right. Well, yeah. Let's call it here.
Yeah.
Excited.
It's
for the
late.
next one. The next
Or
one's
we
gonna have
really
all the
do.
exciting, random cool parts. We'll see. Bye.
Cool.